but how the world itself and all its creations are coming to existence. How are all the neshamos and the malachim and the chambers of Bria created? Through Malchus of Bria. And how do all the angels and the neshamos, the ruchos, the spirits, and the chambers of Yetzirah created? That's through Malchus of Yetzirah. So good evening, good evening. We are holding a special evening between Chaf Zayin and Chaf Ches Koach Sivan, special day. Koach Sivan is the day when the Rebbe and the rebbetzin came to the shores of America. That's tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. We'll talk about it a little bit. And we will begin with Tanya and continue with Inyane Deyoma and a little bit of Dvar Malchus Be'ezras Hashem. And Rosh Chodesh Tamu Zaba Aleinu L'Toeva Be'ezras Hashem. So in the Tanya, we are taking our time because this is Kabbalistic material that sometimes people just run through because they say, I cannot understand it. And I think that we can, and we do, I think. We are holding on page Perek Nun Beis, chapter 52, page 145, or Amud Ayin Gimel. And the line that starts, Umahu halevush yuchal lehastira. This is like a third from the top. Umahu halevush yuchal lehastira. We spoke about the Shechina. The Shechina is the aspect of godliness that is designated for worlds. Or Malchus of Atzilus, we call it in all kinds of names, Matronisa, Em Habanim, and so on and so forth. We ended last time by saying that the Shechina as it is way too intense and way too high to be perceived directly by the world. Just as the body and the different organs of the body are not able to perceive and to contain the light of the soul directly, and therefore the soul designates a certain amount of chayos for the body that is centralized first in the brain, and from the brain radiates the right koyach, the right energy for each organ to function the way it needs to and to be animated the way it needs to. And so too regarding the Shechina. So the Shechina is like the nefesh of the soul of the world. However, we cannot receive from the Shechina directly. If we were exposed to the Shechina directly, we would lose our existence completely. We would lose our metzius. And therefore, the Shechina needs some kind of levush, some kind of a garment through which, just as the brain is some kind of a levush, is a garment for the chayus of the nefesh, so that chayus can be filtered by the brain and then disseminated to the organs, so too the Shechina needs some kind of levush that will filter it according to each world and its capacity to perceive, and will disseminate the chayos from the Shechina to each and world and each and every being in each and every world according to its vessels and kelim. So what is that levush that can actually conceal the Shechina so it should not shine the way it is and be so overwhelming? And what is the levush that can contain the Shechina? So we are there. ומהו הלבוש? מהו הלבוש שיוכל להסתירה ולהלבישה ולא יסבטל במציאות באורה? So what is the garment? What is the cover? What is the levush that can cover up the Shechina and be able to manipulate, to filter it, to manipulate it, to direct it, its chayus, and velo yisbatel b'metzius be'ora, and that this cover should not be annulled by the intensity of the Shechina itself. Which cover, which levush, which garment can be present to this intense, relatively to us, still unlimited light of the Shechina? So this is where we are. Who, that is the brain of every world, like the nefesh shines its energy through the brain, the moichin of every person, and through the brain the energy is disseminated for the chayos to the organs, so too the moichin of each world, what are they? Retzoino Yisbarach v'chochmaso v'chulu. The Ratzon of Hashem, what's the moichin b'chlal? The moichin are always the Chabad, or the Keser and Chabad. The Ratzon, the Keser, and the Chochma, and the Bina, and the Das. That's the moichin. So that's Retzoino Yisbarach v'chochmaso v'chulu. The Ratzon of Hashem, which is the mitzvahs. Torah is also originating in the Ratzon of Hashem, but it comes up as Chokhmah, the wisdom of Hashem. And then the Bina, the understanding of the Torah, which this is basically Torah and mitzvahs, Yiddishkeit. That's the levush of the Shechina, the moichin of every world. המלובשים בתורה ומצוותיה, הנגלים לנו ולבנינו. These divine moichin, which means the will of God, Keser, and Chokhmah of Atzilus, and Bina, the understanding of the divine, and Das, the consciousness of the divine, all these spheres, all these divine moichin are invested in the Torah and its mitzvahs. So just as the moach hagashmi, the physical brain, is metzamtzem, filters and constricts the hamshacha from the nefesh, that she should not light the way she is because the body cannot handle it. And the brain covers up of the general hashpah from the nefesh. And then it shines to each organ according to its capacity. So too the divine moichin. And generally that is represented by Torah and mitzvahs. Are also the levush through which the Shechina could give chayus to the world. The oraisa mi chokhma nafkas. The Torah comes from the divine chokhma, the divine moichin, the divine brain, which is here chokhma ilah, the divine chokhma, chokhma of Atzilus. And chokhma of Atzilus is dil'eila le'eila mi'alma disgalia. One of the terms that we called Malchus of Atzilus, we called it Alma Disgalia, the word of the revealed, because the whole intent of Malchus is to reveal that which is above it, to that which is below it. So Malchus is called the world of revelation. So Malchus, this is the last sphere. The world of revelation, with Galia. Imagine how is Chokhmah, which is the first sphere, in comparison to Malchus, which is the last sphere. So Chokhmah is the le'eila mi'alma disgalia. Chokhmah is way, way higher than the world of Malchus, of the Shechina, of Malchus of Atzilus. Malchus of Atzilus is only hamshacha from HaKadosh Baruch Hu to the worlds and to the created beings. But Chokhmah of Atzilus, the iyu chakim velo b'chokhmah yediah. When you talk about Chokhmah of Atzilus, and you talk about Chokhmah in godliness, in Or and Sof, it's not Chokhmah that we know. Because Chokhmah that we know, intellect that we know, is not one with us. It's part of us. And either we can know something or not. And if we do, it gets added to us. And if we don't, we are missing it. By Hashem, it's not like that. There's nothing outside of him that he can know, because there's nothing outside of himself. His Chokhmah and him are one, but not in the Chokhmah that we know. It is just a potential for Chokhmah that we cannot even perceive how it is part of our Ein Sof. So כמו שנתבאר לאל, as we learned before, the אור אין סוף ברוך הוא מלובש ומיוחד בחוכמה הילה. That when it comes to Malchus, you don't have, in Malchus of Atzilus, you don't have Or Ein Sof the way it is. It's only Or Ein Sof the way, the external aspect of it that relates to worlds. But when you talk about Chokhmah of Atzilus, in Chokhmah of Atzilus, Chokhmah is Koach Ma, the ability to be a Keli, to be a what? To be a no Yeshus, no substance that will block the revelation of the infinite. That's what Chokhmah of Atzilus is. And in Chokhmah of Atzilus, Or Ein Sof is invested and enclosed, and Miyuchad b'Chokhmah Ilah. Or Ein Sof, godliness itself, is mamash one with the divine Chokhmah. And therefore, Vehu is Barach v'Chokhmah so echad. And him and his Chokhmah are mamash one. So therefore, we can understand, on one hand, how Torah can be a levush to the Shechina that will not be battle in the Shechina, right? Why? Can anyone explain to me why Torah can be a levush to the Shechina and not will be battle in the Shechina? Why?
Because it's not it's not made of the same thing.
Of Malchus.
Right.
It's Chokhmah, right? It's so much higher than Malchus. Therefore, Torah can be a levush. Torah can conceal it. Torah can direct it, can manipulate it, so to speak, filter it, and not be annulled because it comes from Chokhmah of Hashem. Malchus is the last sphere. Torah comes from the first, highest sphere, in which God himself dwells. So we can understand how Torah has the power to be a levush to the Shechina. But now we have another question. You shouldn't sleep because of this question. What's the question? The question is, if this is the case, the Torah is so much higher because it comes from Chokhmah of Hashem. And Shechina is Malchus, is the lowest of Sphira, of Atzilus, the one that is only now in relation to the lower created worlds. But if this is the case, we learned that we cannot be present to the Shechina itself because we would lose our existence. We will dissipate in the, it's like the ray in the sun itself, the ray of the sun in the sun itself. If we say that Torah is so high that it can cover and filter and has the power to filter the light of the Shechina, which is way too much for us. So the question is, we cannot be present to the Shechina itself. If this is the case, how can we not be battled by the Torah? If we say that to the Shechina we cannot be present because we will lose our existence, like the ray of the sun inside the sun. It doesn't have an individual existence anymore. It's the sun. So if we say that we cannot be present to the Shechina itself, now we come to say, well, who can be the Shadchan between us and the Shechina? Torah. Why? Because Torah comes from Chokhmah, and even higher, the Ratzon of Hashem. So if this is the case, if Torah is even higher than the Shechina, how come we don't get burned away by Torah? It's even higher than the Shechina. You understand my question, everybody? Please say yes. Or at least say no, but say something. You understand?
I think so.
Yes.
We say the Torah is so much higher. That's why it can be a levush, a garment to the Shechina. It can filter it. It will not be burned away by it. It's very strong because it comes from way higher. So if it is way higher and we cannot even stand the Shechina, how can we stand the Torah? How can we stand the Torah that comes from the Chochmah of Hashem, which is way, way higher than the Shechina? Way. It's the way God is in relation to himself, not the way God is mitzumtzum to the world. How can we tolerate that if we cannot even tolerate the Shechina? We need a shadchan, a filter, a brain between us and the Shechina. But this brain is coming from Chochmah of Atzilus. It's higher than the Shechina. How come we are not battle in that light? Oh, so that's what the Rebbe is saying now. Rak, only, yes, Torah can do that. Torah can be the levush that will filter the light of the Shechina and will allocate it to us and disseminate it to us the way we need. This is the brain of every world, and we will learn that as the Shechina gives chayos to each world, it is first invested and enclosed in the moichin, in the Kodesh HaKodashim, or in the Torah of each and mitzvahs of each world, in the Chabad of each world. And together they are mislabash in Malchus of each world, and everything in that world is created. So how come we are not battled by this Torah that comes from so high that it can manipulate the Shechina, it can cover it up, can filter it? Because, says the Rebbe Rak, only that this Torah, we don't receive the Torah the way it is lemaila. Rather, sheyarda b'seiser hamadregos. Torah, the way we receive the Torah, came down and descended and descended and descended in the concealments of levels. Mimadrega lemadrega, lower and lower and lower. B'ishtalshelus ha'olamos, in the chain descent of worlds, just as a chain that has many rings to it, and it goes down and down, so to the Torah, that in its shoresh, in its root, it comes from the divine wisdom and the divine will, and one with God, but it descended from world to world, עד שנסלבשה בדברים גשמיים שהם תרי"ג מצוות התורה. Until the Torah was enclosed in physical objects, and that's what when you learn Gemara and Halacha, you learn about physical life, and there are rules and laws about the physical life, which are the 613 mitzvahs of the Torah. And therefore, since the Torah doesn't shine to us in its ultimate power, in its most power, the way the Torah is, surely we wouldn't be able to receive it at all. Rather, the way the Torah descended and was garbed with more and more and more and more levushim, and its light is more and more concealed, until it is invested in dvarim gashmim, in our physical reality. Therefore, because it came down in the process of concealment, we can receive the Torah without losing our existence. And therefore, even though on one hand the Torah is not nullified by the Shechina, it can be a levush to the Shechina, and it can use and direct the light and the life force of the Shechina to the worlds through the Kodesh HaKodashim, the brain of each world. That's on one hand. On the other hand, we can receive from the Torah. Why? Because Torah descended through a lot of process of tzimtzumim and concealments until it is now translated to a language that we can understand in our physical reality. So Mimele, now we can understand how the Torah is now serving as the moichin, as the brain, in order to receive the light of the Shechina, to conceal it, to constrict it and filter it, so the worlds will not be battled in the light of the Shechina, because the Torah is higher. And therefore, v'yiridasa, and when the Torah descends, v'ishtalshelus me'olam le'olam, as the worlds go lower and lower, and more dense and more dense, and less spiritual and more dense and physical material, then the Torah in each world is serving as the levush to the light of the Shechina that is shaykh to each world, to this specific world. And therefore, Gam HaShechina, that shaykh to this world, Yarda v'nislav shaba, comes down and is invested in the Torah, in the moichin of each world. Bechol olam ve'olam, the way the Torah is in each and every world. This is the way the Torah is in Bria, the way the Torah is in Atzilus, the way the Torah is in Bria, the way the Torah is in Yetzirah, and the way the Torah is in Asiyah. So the Shechina is nisyarda v'nislavsha in the Torah, in each world, according to its level. And the Torah can conceal the intensity of the light of the Shechina, because really the Torah is higher than the Shechina, and to conceal and to filter and to direct the light of the Shechina, so each and every creation and each and every created being in each and every world will receive chayos from the Shechina just enough in order to be created and in order to exist. Vezeu, this brain, this moichin of each world, meaning the way the Torah is enclosed in each world, Heichal Kodshei Kodashim Shebechol Olam Ve'olam. This is spiritually called the chamber of the Holy of Holies of each and every world, which means the Kodesh HaKodashim, the Holy of Holies of each and every world, is the place of the Ashras HaShechina, where the Shechina dwells, which means the divine chayus, the entire divine chayus that is shaykh to this specific world. And now the Rebbe brings different quotes from Kabbalah. B'derech klal in Tanya, the Rebbe doesn't use Kabbalistic terms unless they are necessary for the discussion, but here he does. וכמו שכתוב בזוהר, ועץ חיים, as it says in the Zohar, he brings the proof that the Shechina is invested and enclosed in each moichin, in each world, in the moichin of each world. And he brings proofs, כמו שכתוב בזוהר, and in עץ חיים of the Arizal, שהשכינה שהיא מלכוס דאצילוס, that the Shechina, which is מלכוס of Atzilus, שהיא בחינס גילוי אור אין סוף ברוך הוא, which is the aspect of גילוי אור אין סוף. What does it mean, גילוי אור אין סוף ברוך הוא? The חיות שמאיר לעולמוס, the divine life force that shines to the worlds, ולכן היא נקראת, that's why the Shechina, Malchus of Atzilus, is called, נקראת דבר השם ורוח פיו כביכול. The Shechina or Malchus of Atzilus is called in Kabbalah דבר Hashem, the word of God, ורוח פיו, and the spirit of his mouth. As it says in the pasuk, בדבר השם שמיים נעשו, וברוח פיו כל צבאם. Hashem creates through speech. So the Dvar Hashem in the spirit, the breath of his mouth, that is the divine energy which is the source of life force for all worlds. And this is the inyan of Shechina, the Chayos Eloki, that which is the source of the world. And why it is called Dvar Hashem veRuach Piv? Why the Shechina is called Malchus of Atzilus, is called the word of God and the breath of his mouth? So the Malchus of Atzilus is like the mouth of God. Why? Because על דרך משל, כמו שבאדם, הדיבור הוא מגלה מחשבתו הסתומה ונעלמה. Because it just reflects the man below, which means by us, speech reveals what we have in our thought. That's what speech does. Because מחשבתו is the מחשבה of a person is תומה ונעלמה לשומעים. The מחשבה is always concealed from the other person. But the dibur can reveal to the other person thought the thought that was in your mind that wasn't revealed before. And this is what he says in Eitz Chaim, that Malchus of Atzilus, he mislabeshes be'echal kodshei kodashim debria. The Malchus of Atzilus is invested in the Heichal of Kodesh HaKodashim, of the Holy of Holies of Bria, which she Chochma Bina Das de Bria. And then the Rebbe will continue to explain how the beginning of how godliness gives life to every world begins in the Kodesh HaKodashim of each world, in the brain of each world. But actually, that is only regarding the Elokus in every world. But how the world itself and all its creations are coming to existence, how are all the Neshamos and the Malachim and the chambers of Bria created? Through Malchus of Bria. And how do all the angels and the Neshamos, the Ruchos, the spirits, and the chambers of Yetzirah created? That's through Malchus of Yetzirah, and we will learn about it next time, Be'ezras Hashem. All right. This was another part of Perek Nun Beis in the end, almost the end, the one Perek before the end of Tanya Kadisha. The next is that tonight is Koach Tammuz, Koach Sivan. We're approaching Rosh Chodesh Tammuz. And Koach Sivan, which was then June 23rd, 1941, the Rebbe and the rebbetzin reached New York on Monday, 10:30 in the morning. They traveled from Vichy and Nice to Portugal, Lisbon, and there they boarded the ship that was traveling to New York. At first, the Rebbe and the rebbetzin were staying in 770, in the room that became the Rebbe's office, the Rebbe's room. It took a while when the Rebbe and the rebbetzin came finally. It took a while. The Frierdiker Rebbe didn't see them right away. It took 3 days for the Frierdiker Rebbe to meet the Rebbe and the rebbetzin. The Rebbe Shlita first did meet rebbetzin Nechamadina, the rebbetzins mother, but he was waiting for an invitation from the Frierdiker Rebbe, from the Rebbe then, to be seen. And in the meantime, we went to the mikveh and so on and made a chanus. And only on the third day, he was called to come to see the Frierdiker Rebbe. And even then, the Frierdiker Rebbe was not able to see them both together. He first asked to see the Rebbe, and then his daughter, the rebbetzin. And of course, the Frierdiker Rebbe sent representatives to the shore, to the ship, and tmimim that received the Rebbe and rebbetzins, and they greet them and bring them to 770. The Rebbe Shlita explained that the Frierdiker Rebbe was so much b'israkshus, he was so emotional about their arrival to New York, and the Rebbe explained that since Chassidus demands from each and every one, moach shalit al halev, that the mind should govern the heart, the Frierdiker Rebbe had to wait till his mind could govern his heart before he can see them. And only then after 3 days, he composed himself, so to speak, and even then, as said, he invited them not together, it was too much, one at a time. A lot happened, but that Shabbos, first Shabbos, that the Rebbe spent in New York was Gimel Tammuz. And that's when the life sentence of the Friedrich Rebbe was changed from the opposite of life to life. And then gradually changed to 10 years and 3 years, plus Galus and so on, and eventually he was freed, and eventually, the Rebbe says, 60 years later, all Jews of Russia were able to leave and liberated. So this is about Koyach Sivan, which is a very powerful day when the Rebbe and the rebbetzin came to the Chatzi Akadu Atachton to complete the total transformation of America that became the center of Jewry, now hopefully shifting to our Holy Land, and we will all should be there in the Geula Amitis Vashleima. But from here, the leadership of Yiddishkeit shifted from Europe to the Chatzi Akadu Atachton, and through the center of Lubavitch in America, the Rebbe really sent all the shluchim to transform the entire world. So it's a great day in our history. I also want to come back to Dvar Malchus, at least for a couple of minutes, but I want to speak what I did speak about it in the past.
I'm sorry, Chana.
Yes, dear.
I'm just curious. What did your family have to say about what happened in the United States? You were in Israel. Well, your family was in Israel. And were they impacted, or do you know about the impact of the Rebbe coming to the United States and how the Israelis at that time thought about it, or what they thought about it?
Listen, this was still at the time of war. Israel didn't exist yet. It's 41. Israel is 48. This is still a time of war when the Friedrich Rebbe had to be rescued. The Rebbe from France worked a lot with different organizations to rescue the Friedrich Rebbe, his Rebbe, and eventually was himself rescued from Europe, from the burning Europe. And when he came to New York, he was greeted with a lot of honor, a lot of police escort, and got a lot of honor. What the people of Israel, it wasn't yet Israel. It was just, Yidden trying to survive. And then later on, there was a love and some friction relationship, since the Rebbeim did not accept the Zionistic path, establishing a state that is not completely Torah-based. And at the same time, loved the fact that there is a large congregation of Yidden in the Holy Land that need to be protected and cared for. So,
thank you.
You're welcome. I can tell you that in quite an early age, we did hear from the Rebbe as a special leader. He did there were like ripples of rumors and information coming that there is a special leader in New York that has some supernatural powers and that is a Hasidic leader, but that it began to be noticed that his impact and his effect was not only in the box of a Hasidic little community, but it has a global impact. And it began to be recognized step by step, more and more, until the leaders of Israel were impacted enough to seek his advice and to come and visit him at times. I also want to speak about Rosh Chodesh Tammuz. Gimel Tammuz, Mirz Hashem, we will benefit from all the programs that are coming up, and I don't feel that in these few minutes I can cover this topic. Also, next week, in Mirz Hashem, we are not going to have a shiur because Neshech Chabad are going to have the Gimel Tammuz program on Wednesday. It will be the Motzei Dalet Tammuz, but still it is a Gimel Tammuz program, so we will join in Yos Hashem, the Sheikh Chabad program. So we will be able to hear a lot of Fabringas in Yos Hashem online and in our communities. But I want to bring 2 points regarding the fact that we are approaching Rosh Chodesh Tammuz. And I'll try to say it in a very short way. Tammuz is a Babylonian name of Avodah Zarah. And somehow means through a process of transformation, became included as one of the names of the 12 months of the holy Jewish year, the Jewish calendar. But Tammuz itself is a name of Avodah Zarah, based on a whole story that I don't want to, and I don't know, and I don't want to know the details too much, but the whole tragedy about a god of the sun that had a prophet, and that prophet was killed in a very tragic way. And then it became a ritual in Babylonia to mourn again and again, to eulogize and mourn the tragic passing of this prophet. And it was done through establishing those getchkes, those big statues, that statue that was made from copper, or it's a big metal statue, a pestle that was very huge, very tall, and they used to have a tub, a big huge tub of lead inside the bottom of this getchke, of this idol, and they used to light the fire under this tub of lead, and it used to melt and come up the getchke, come up the idol, and then pour down through the eyes of the idols. And it looked like this idol was crying. And then in front of the eye, mainly appealed to women. You know, there were women who were special mekonenos. The Navi Yechezkel are mentioning in his rebuke style of nevuas, those nevuas, the women are mekonenos to the idol, to the Tammuz, to the idol of the Tammuz, that they are eulogizing and crying and mourning and do all kind of mutilation, all kind of things in front of the getchke to reach ecstasies as a result of re-experiencing the tragedy and the horrible catastrophe of death and the opposite of life. And that became the name of the month that spiritually represents the biggest divine revelation. Tammuz, when the sun shines in its hottest and brightest light. It represents Shemesh u'magen Havaya Elokim. It's the time that Havaya is shining the most. And this month is called Tammuz. And that means that if the Torah allows a name of Avodah Zarah to become the name of the month that follows the receiving of the Torah, this is the real inyan of transformation. What is the transformation? That it is a transformation, there's a lot to say, I just want to say one point. A transformation of consciousness. People build cultures upon cultures, whether they are cultures of art, cultures of literature, cultures of philosophy, cultures of music, and culture of psychology, really celebrating pain and suffering and tragedy. People used to worship it. There are songs that are all about human pain, and art all about human pain, and dramas and theater about human tragedy and human pain. there is a tendency in the human psychology to idolize the victim approach and to show the defeat and the pain of humanity that as a victim for the tragic circumstances of life. And Yiddishkeit comes and turns it over. That from a month of eulogizing the tragedy of human life in this world, we are turning it to the month of the biggest Gilui Elokus, when we know that every challenge and every difficulty and every that which looks tragic event is a portal to meet God on His terms and to accomplish something that otherwise would not be able to be accomplished. And we know that everything has its good purpose and everything has its good end. And those who devote their lives to life and to optimism and to bitachon and trust in the redemptive consciousness of humanity, not in the tragic and defeated consciousness of humanity, that gives up on optimism and life and celebrates the opposite. This is the essence of Yiddishkeit and the essence of this month that the Rebbe in his Dvar Malchus calls for our attention to understand that Tammuz represents the ultimate transformation with the power of Torah, following the month of Sivan, when we see that many miracles, the Rebbe says, even though they are supernatural and they are come from lemala min hateva, Hashem makes them happen through teva, through nature, like the nace of the Matei Aaron that proved that Aaron was ordained by Hashem, that it was a nace, but it went through the teva process of budding and then blooming and then the flowers and then the almonds. Teva, nes betoch teva. And so too, Shemesh begivon dom, Yoshua had to stop the sun, and the whole constellation of the celestial constellation had to change its mahalach, its orbits, and its circulation in order to assist Yoshua in his victory. And the Rebbe says, why Hashem had to go to change the whole teva? Just give him a victory, finish. Make him win in 5 minutes. Why you have to stop the sun, hold the light, not to bring the night, change the whole teva? Because the whole thing, and the same thing Gimel Tammuz, it went gradually. First from opposite life to life and galus, then 10 years, and then 3 years, and then eventually he was liberated, and all people were liberated by the same people who imprisoned him. And that's the energy of Tammuz, the ability to transform, but in such a way that you are not mevatel this world. You are transforming the teva of this world. You are not just knocking this world away by bringing a miracle that overwhelms us and sweeps us over our feet. You are bringing the supernatural. You are bringing the unlimited. You are bringing the infinite. You are bringing the divine, the spiritual, the ethereal, the truth, the light into Teva, into this reality. And the ability of Tammuz with Chag HaGeula, which is Yud Beis Yud Gimel Tammuz, and the transformative energy of Gimel Tammuz itself really enables us to turn that which is the worship of opposite of light and divine and happy ending to that which is the Geula Amitis V'Ashleima, that is all good and it is all love and it is all divine, it is all unlimited abundance of union and Kedusha and Geula, redemption. Let's just live with the last, which is the Ma'aser Ha'ikar, which the Rebbe directed us to increase this month in the avoida of Kabbalah's Ol, Shelemala Mitam Vadas, of following God in a way that is not just formulated by our rationale, and to do it with Rizus, which is connected to Birkas Kohanim, that the Kohanim have an ability to draw down a bracha from Hashem, that it should come down in a way of Zrizus, of Ad Me'era Yarud Dvaro, swiftly come down. That's what Birkas Kohanim does. And so too we should be inspired to act when we're serving Hashem with Kabbalah's Ol, to do it b'zrizus, swiftly, to be energetic and swift, and to do it in a way that we are not considering too much our natural limitations. And so too, the way we engage in parnasa, in our business, in our income, it should be permeated with emunah in Hashem, and then it becomes the right keli of to parnasa, again in a manner of nes melubash beteva, nes that will come through your checks, through your bank account. That's a nice nes. Melubash beteva. That's the Rebbe theme in this sikha, in this Farbrengen. The miracle that is invested in the natural through and comes to us through the natural channels. The Rebbe says to add in swiftly and energetically in all actions of spreading Torah, Yiddishkeit, and the wellsprings of Chassidus, of the Pnimius Torah, out of awareness and understanding and knowing that the world itself is assisting in this work, studying from the most external aspect of the world, and in a way that we should approach the world through such a mentality and such an outlook and a view that the whole metzius, the whole existence of the world is just there for yafutzu ma'aseh chachutza, for this sake, for this service, without considering any limitation. And yet, together with that, to believe that all this is invested and can be revealed through the channels of Teva, of nature. And then, if a person lechatchila will approach the world like that, he will actually find out and see that the world is ready and is there solely to assist him to accomplish this goal of bringing a lakus into the world. The Rebbe said that we should make efforts so each and every Jewish child should have the opportunity to participate in a Jewish camp, in a summer camp that is based on a kosher chinuch and taras hakodesh. And the Rebbe said that those who are engaged in chinuch, who are occupied with education, have to utilize the time of summer to aid in all matters of Yiddishkeit in themselves and the children with chayus and joy and simcha. The Rebbe reminds us to continue to say Pirkei Avos every Shabbos, all through summer Shabbosim, and at least to learn one Mishnah of Pirkei Avos be'iyun, more in depth. And then the Rebbe also concluded by encouraging to review a Maimar Chassidus after Mincha on Shabbos, and to do it in such a way that it should have an impact on those who hear the Maimar. And that includes, of course, ourselves. So I'm wishing each and every one a good Chodesh, a good Shabbos, and a very special Gimel Tammuz in which we'll be able to celebrate with the Rebbe and the rebbetzin that came here. They don't have to come here. They can show up immediately in Yerushalayim. We'll be right there with them in Beis Hamikdash Hashlishi and Hanitzchi with good news from all Yidden, Bageula Amitis Vashleima, and it should happen Tekel Miyad Mamash now.